Hey everybody, it's John King with Summit Funding. It is Friday, the 8th of September, and here I am with my rate update, taken live while I am commuting into the office this morning on the wonderful California freeways that are creating some pretty major shake. So as you see my camera shake, just know it's the wonderful roadways that our tax dollars are going to support. Anyway, what the heck's going on with the market this week? What I want to update you on? A couple of things. First of all, what's happening with the rate market. Secondly, I'm going to dive deep into what is the next big concern in the economy, and that's commercial real estate. And I'll talk about kind of my thoughts on there, give you some feedback on what I see happening and what I think will go from there. So first and foremost, I also want to talk about California Dream for All. That's a huge topic. The shared appreciation program that was launched earlier this year ran out of money. The state legislature is right now in the middle of creating their trailer bill, which is essentially the final language that says what the rules have to be. Now, I saw a preview copy of some information, I saw the agenda from the state legislature that had a meeting last week, August 30th, and then I dug into some of the wording of the bill. And a couple of things of note, there was a line in the bill, this is not the finalized bill, there was absolutely a line in the bill that said that they want to target the funds to assist people who are first generation homebuyers. So I've been talking about this as something that I think the state is trying to implement, and now I've seen it in writing. It is not the final version, but it is absolutely in writing as the current version of the bill that says they want this money to be targeted towards people who are first generation homeowners. That's something to be aware of. If you are thinking about and wanting to take advantage of this, you got to think about, hey, if my parents have owned a home, if my parents own a home right now, that may mean I'm not eligible for this program. Now, the rules can change. That doesn't mean that you're ineligible, but it means right now it's a big question mark of how are they going to allocate the money and what restrictions are they going to put on it. So keep staying tuned. I'll give you as much information as I can as soon as I get it, and I look forward to being your resource to really get the best information on this program. Now, my second topic is going to be on rates. What the heck's happening with rates? It's a rough market. Last Friday, we saw rates actually improve with the non-farm payroll report that came out first Friday of the month. This week, we've lost all of those gains. Rates are back up to the highest that they've been in, depending upon what article you read, 18 years or 25 years. This is just it. This is where the market is sitting. Now, I personally think we're going to stay within this range. We're not going to get much lower than 6.75, and I don't think we're going to get much higher than around 7.5. Possibly we can tickle 8%, but I don't really see that happening. But we're going to be stuck there until early to mid next year. The Fed is going to keep rates up where they are longer. So there's been a lot of expectation, including my own, that once the Fed stops increasing rates, we're going to see bond rates and mortgage rates fall pretty fast. Well, I'm not sure that's really going to happen because the Fed's making it very, very clear they don't plan on dropping rates anytime soon. And historically, when the Fed moves up pretty quickly, they hit a peak and they start coming back down very quickly. And the Fed could just be talk and no action. But the fact of the matter is the Fed is being really clear in their talk that they plan on keeping rates up at a higher level for an extended period of time. So I don't think we're going to see rates drop as soon as I had hoped. I still think we're looking at lower rates in 2024, but whether it's spring or is it summer or is it fall, and what do you define as low? I think that we will be happy to see an interest rate down in the 5.5 to 6% range. I think that's the next tier that we're going to hit. And the truth is, I think a lot of buyers are going to come out of the woodwork when we hit those numbers because 5.5% looks really good when we were at 7.5. As a matter of fact, I talked to a client yesterday and we were talking about monthly payments on a $350,000 home. And I had explained to her she wanted a payment that was, no more than about $2,800 a month. And she wanted to buy a $400,000 home. Well, right now with interest rates in the mid sevens, she's looking at $2,900 a month for a $350,000 home, where she was hoping to buy a $400,000 home for no more than $2,800. So the math didn't work. But we played with the numbers real quick, and we're looking at, what happens when rates fall to 5.375 instead of 7.375 that we were looking at yesterday. And it knocked her payment from $2,900 down to $2,500 a month. That's a huge drop in monthly payment that made that $350,000 home really affordable, and the $400,000 home also would have fallen into her budget. The problem is, as soon as we hit 5.375, or as we're going down, there's going to be a lot more buyer demand, and those prices are going to go up. So that house that's currently at $350,000 that she has to pay $2,900 for, well, sure, if rates drop to 5.375, she only has to pay $2,400. But the price isn't going to stay at $350,000. The price of that home may go to $425,000, and now the payment's back to $2,900 a month. So she didn't save any money by waiting. And that's the key that I want everybody to be aware of. I firmly believe when interest rates fall, we're going to see housing prices go up. Because when interest rates skyrocketed, we didn't see housing prices go down. So that proves there's a lot of demand for homes. Even at higher rates, there'll be even more demand at lower rates. All right, let's get into my final topic for today, and that is the commercial real estate market. So coincidentally, earlier this week, I actually ended up watching the movie The Big Short. If you haven't watched that movie, it's a great movie, and it talks about what happened in the run-up to the 2007 to 2009 Great Recession, and specifically leading up to 2007, when subprime mortgages became a major problem for the economy, and mortgages in general became a major problem for the economy. And really scary how much some things that are happening today in the commercial real estate market mirror what I saw in that movie. So I saw an article in the Wall Street Journal a couple of days ago, and it talked about the spiral that is starting to happen in the commercial real estate market. Now follow me here. What's happening is commercial real estate loans always have been, well, a majority of them, let's call it that way. A majority of commercial real estate loans are one-year loans. Now think about that. You own a commercial building. You own a skyrise in downtown San Francisco or in Manhattan, and you are guaranteed that interest rate and guaranteed that payment for 1 year. A year later, you have to renew the loan. And almost all commercial real estate loans are that way. So every year the bank is reviewing your financials, reviewing the value of the property, reviewing the vacancy rate, reviewing the rental income that you're receiving, and making a determination on your approval, on your eligibility to renew that loan for another year. Well, rates have gone up significantly, and vacancies have gone up significantly, because a lot of people have not moved back into their office space. They've closed the office space. They've not renewed their lease, because since COVID, people have learned that they can send their employees home and spend a lot less money on real estate. And so you hear the stories in downtown San Francisco about all of the vacancies that are happening in the buildings, because workers just aren't coming to work. The workers don't want to come to the office. They've moved away from the high, expensive real estate markets, and the employers are happy for the most part because they don't have to pay for the real estate, pay for the rent for all of the people to go into work every single day. So it's cheaper for everybody. But who it's hurting is the landlord, because the landlord is now having to make a higher monthly payment, because a year ago, interest rates were lower. Interest rates have moved up. So now they're having to renew at a higher interest rate and a higher monthly payment, and the building is worth even less. The Wall Street Journal article essentially outlined that what's happening is one building, the landlord says, you know what, I'm out. They actually told a story about this one landlord who said, look, between the cost of fixing up the building to attract new tenants and the carrying cost of what interest rates are right now compared to what I'm receiving in rent, or what I could receive in rent, it's not worth it. I'm out. And recognize that a majority of these corporations that are landlords are corporations. They're LLCs, which means the LLC can file bankruptcy and say, I wash my hands of this debt. I don't have to worry about it. And they can then open up shop tomorrow under a new LLC that doesn't have the same issue with the bankruptcy. So it's kind of a shell game, but follow me here. What's happening is the Wall Street Journal said, look, this one property owner says, I'm letting go of this home or this building in Manhattan. And so it goes back to the bank. Now the bank owns the debt. The bank does not have to reduce the value of their loan to what market value is until they sell the property. So in a lot of cases, and again, I'm sure there's areas where that's required, but as I read the Wall Street Journal article, there's a term called mark to market, which was a major problem back in the 2007-8 financial crisis, where we didn't have to mark to market or reduce the value of the corporate assets unless you sold the asset. And so here's what that ultimately means. It means the banks are holding on to a commercial loan for $10 million on a property that's only worth $8 million. But they can say, well, no, this is a $10 million asset because I've got this property that was worth this much money, and they don't have to lower the value, because the truth is they're underwater by $2 million because they are owed $10 million and the property is only worth $8 million. And so now what you've got is, once they end up selling that property, now it lowers the values of all of the other buildings around it. And when those property values lower, the next landlord that has to renew every single year, does this sound like what happened back in 2007 and 8 when everybody had an adjustable rate mortgage and they couldn't refinance out of their adjustable? Everybody did adjustable rates back then and said, don't worry, in 2 or 3 years you can refi. That's literally what happens right now in the commercial real estate market. So what's this going to mean? It's going to mean that a lot of banks are going to have issues because they're going to be repossessing or foreclosing on a lot of commercial real estate. Now you say, John, why does that matter? Because I'm not in commercial real estate, but it's going to impact the economy. It's going to impact the stock markets. It's going to impact these businesses. And it's just like somebody saying, I don't care if, 2007, and they say, I don't care if somebody loses their home. That doesn't impact me. It impacted the entire global economy. Now, I'm not being Chicken Little. I'm not telling you the sky is falling. I'm telling you this is the next thing I'm watching, because I'm very concerned about how similar this sounds to how we treated the financial crisis in 2007 and leading up to that timeline. The movie The Big Short talks about how the regulators were saying, no, subprime mortgages are fine. Everything is good. The housing market always goes up. Don't worry, everything will be fine. Well, just yesterday I was listening to a news report where they were talking about the Federal Reserve, and one of the Federal Reserve members was asked by a reporter, hey, what do you think about what's happening in the commercial real estate market and its impact on the broader economy? And their answer, and I'm paraphrasing, was something along the lines of, at this time, we don't see any immediate issues that the commercial real estate market is going to have as an impact on the broader economy. In other words, they're saying, don't worry, it's just the commercial real estate market. It won't affect everything else. We don't see any immediate issues. That's the same thing they said about the subprime crisis and mortgages back in 2006 and 7 and 8. So just be aware, just pay attention to what's going on, because that is going to be a potential thing that we've got to be paying attention to. So guys, I really appreciate you listening to me. I really appreciate you dealing with the bounciness of these bumpy roads, and just recognize that I do this so that I can help educate you, and I can help to really serve your needs. If you're looking to purchase or refinance a home, please know that I'm here to take great care of you. If you need anything, please give me a holler. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll talk to y'all soon. Bye-bye.